So at this point, I feel like Bill Murray should be playing the song from Groundhog Day. I think this is the third OIS meeting where I've come to tell you that we had submitted our NDA, and hoping for an approval in the spring. I hope the 3 times a charm. As you probably know, we went to an FDA panel in February, and we were recommended for approval at the panel. But post the panel, the FDA had some questions regarding the equivalence of the device that we were submitting for approval and the device that was ultimately used in the clinical trial. But we've successfully worked very closely with the FDA over the past few months. We have narrowed down exactly the questions they wanted answered. We had the answer to all the questions. And I'm happy to report that actually today they were nice enough to send us the letter to tell us that our PDUFA date is April 16th. So I hope everybody roots along with me that it really couldn't happen 3 times in a row. And so we're hoping when we get back to ASCRS, we'll have a nice announcement there about our approval. But that, I think, as you know, that is all to do with our orphan indication of keratoconus and ectasia. And really now I want to move on to talk about the more, the new and more exciting things that we're doing. But a brief segue moving into this. This is a big project as we move into photorefractive intrastromal cross-linking, PIXL as we call it. And it's going to be a big adventure, big clinical trials and the like. And I'm happy to report that we have 2 new financial partners that have joined us in this quest. Gil from Interwest, I think I feel part of the tribe now up here. And also OrbiMed has joined in. So I think we have very strong financial partners to bring us through to the finish line. So I want to give you what we think PIXL is going to mean to ophthalmology. This started back a long time ago when we looked at if we could change the biomechanics of the eye, how could we manipulate it to be useful? Original work from B.J. Dupe showed that you could actually get predictions. You could actually think about if I imply what I'm going to do to the eye, I might be able to get a predictable change. So we designed a very fancy piece of equipment. A standard cross-link equipment does not work for it. And for the past year or 2, we've traveled this equipment around to these sites around the world and treated several hundred patients using different paradigms and the like, trying to narrow down what the nomogram or what the treatment parameters would look like for treating low myopes, low hyperopes, and astigmatic patients. And again, we tested BJ's model against this. So what you're seeing here, and I may have shown this before, the bottom 2 pictures are a pre-op and a post-op of an actual patient treated with the PIXL procedure. The top 2 pictures are the modeling that was done. So on the your upper left, these is the pre-op, and then we gave BJ the treatment we put in. So what should it look like? And you can see that it's amazing how the high fidelity with which the modeling can predict it. And on the side, you can see the post-op result of that patient who went from not seeing so well to seeing very well. We've extended this study out to actually formed what was really a GCP study with Burkhart Dick. That study is now complete, and the results are coming in at 1 year now, the 1 year of the 1 year patients. In that study, we weren't attempting to target emmetropia. We were targeting 2 doses and looking at how each of those doses would affect the patient. And remember, we're working with patients who are very low myopes, 1.5, 1 3/4, and so the standard, plus or minus a half doesn't really work because a lot of these patients are starting almost at plus or minus a half. So we looked at how much can we reduce the sphere and what kind of improvement we see in their vision. So you can see in that slide there's 2 doses. On the reduction of sphere, you see we get more predictable reduction with lower energy. And probably the more important thing to look at is look at improvement of UCVA. So what it basically says is if you have a patient that needs 5 lines of UCVA improvement, you would give them 15 joules. If they need 3 lines, you give them 10 joules. And we're determining the linearity beyond all that now. We're working on it. But how about safety? Let's look at certainly another part of it. These are the BCVAs of the patients pre and post. And you see that in all cases, whether it's 10 joules or 15 joules, BCVA was improved in all these patients. And in fact, if you look at change in BCVA, there was not one patient that lost a line of vision through the PIXL procedure. And in fact, none of the patients receive or have dry eye, glare, or halo and the like because we're not cutting the nerve plexus, we're not doing anything to the abnormal to the shape of the eye, so you have an almost normal eye that doesn't have the normal sequelae that you would see in normal procedures. How about stability? So I said these patients are all reaching a year, and you can see how that, in the first few months, the epithelium's still doing a little jigging around a little bit, so you see a little bit of movement. But these patients are essentially rock stable. We can look at them in 3 months to 6 months to 9 months, and the patients don't move. A nice flattened central cornea, out 1 year, and no movement. How is this working sort of routinely? Again, here's a patient that is a normal myope, and you can see that nice central flattening, just like a PRK. At 1 year, that patient's 20/20. These are patients who are all done bilaterally. Here's a patient who's a pseudofake. And you know that we have a lot of those who need a little bit of tune-up. It works just as fine in the pseudofake. This patient now has much better vision with a very simple operation, non-ablation, non-tissue removal. And it works in the case of hyperopia. So this is a patient who was treated actually with epi-on. I know there's a lot of, what I'd say, controversy and the like about that. Much ado about nothing, if you ask me. But in any case, this is a patient that was a hyperope and is no longer a hyperope post-IOL. Much improved vision quality. So, overall, I would say that, the pixel procedure is, it's going to be a new paradigm. I know that, our life is full of, we all have to be cynics and skeptics, and that's part of the game. But at 1 year, with every patient treated performing very well, if we consider that the patient population that we're looking at, patients who have minor refractive errors after insertion of IOL, this is very easy. Patients who have low myopes that typically don't come to the surgery to be corrected because they don't want to have LASIK, again, a real layup. So I'll leave this with, I think so far what Avedro has been able to do is, I think, knock on wood, we are finally bringing cross-linking to the U.S., and now the next journey is to improve refractive surgery around the world and the U.S., and for the past 10 years, there's been a major cross-linking conference that's taken place in Europe because that's where all the cross-linking was. But this year we were fortunate enough to bring it to Boston, so it's taking place in December, where, for those of you who have continued interest in learning about cross-linking and what's going on, I'd encourage you all to try to attend and come and take a look. So thank you very much.